The reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed, is due to its origins with slavery and slave trade.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering. America, welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Well, it looks like a 12-year-old gave a whole bunch of buffoons a lesson in American history. Welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. So today, we're going to talk about a video that went viral involving a 12-year-old named Jaiden Rodriguez out of Colorado who stood up for his rights thanks to a great mom and gave a school district a lesson in what it means to be an American. But before we get to the video, please like, comment, share the show with your friends. This is going to be a doozy, guys. Above all else, please subscribe to the channel. I'm not even going to get to all the plugs. Let's get to the story right now. And then we're going to have a history lesson of our own. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into some American history that you probably know about, but it's nice to review anyway. Here's the story from the NBC affiliate in Colorado. I believe it's Colorado Springs. Here we go.
Mike, thank you. This is new tonight, a local story that's generating national headlines. A Colorado Springs mom says her son was sent home from school because of the patches on his bag, including one depicting the Gadsden flag.
Now, that yellow flag depicting a rattlesnake with the words "Don't tread on me" is seen as a symbol of unity by many, but some people view it as a symbol of hate. We're taking a deep dive look at the issue tonight. Lindsay Jensen begins our coverage.
This all started when Jaiden Rodriguez, a 7th grader here at Vanguard School, was told he had to remove all of his patches on his backpack or not come back to class.
I was like, this is wild that this is happening. Is this America?
Jaiden Rodriguez says her son was kicked out of class for patches on his backpack, specifically the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Why? Check out this video she took talking with a school admin.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it here because I have the full video. And I think it's better to show the entire video rather than just a snippet in the news.
Yeah. Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical flag?
So the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed, is due to its origins with slavery and slave trade.
Hold on a second. So the news story talked about all the patches on Jaiden's backpack, but the video that we got from the family that was it's making the rounds on social media, it's got millions of views, is primarily talking about the Gadsden flag. And the reason for the school district wanting it removed is because it's based in slavery? That's completely inaccurate.
That is what was, that's the reasoning behind why we do not want this displayed.
The Gadsden flag.
The "Don't Tread on Me."
Okay. Which is the Gadsden flag. Okay. Okay.
So the administrator doesn't even know what the Gadsden flag is. It's the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Wow. So you're ignorant of the symbology of it, and you don't know the name of it, but you're gonna make this kid comply in order to get back into school. Really? Okay.
Okay. So he's what's going to happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class. Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back if it's got the patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids. So
comply, or you can't come back to school. All you need to do, Jaiden, is just give up your rights, comply, do exactly what you're told, obey, and then we'll let you go on your merry way. This kid's got some serious you-know-whats if he's standing up for himself, and good on his mom for sticking by him as well. I love to see that.
That's what I was trying to, and then he said you were close, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate flag?
Okay, I
Is
am
there a
just
history
here to
that you
enforce,
tell them?
no, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district.
Okay.
And definitely you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
Yeah, because
yeah,
the
absolutely.
ACLU.
I'm not here to debate the meaning of this with you. I'm here under orders, and I'm just carrying out my duty. Boy, we've heard that argument before in bad points in history. Nuremberg comes to mind, actually.
Says that he's allowed to wear that. If you like go on their website, it's like says in big letters.
All I'm saying is that
Unless there's like a ban on patches, period. Like if you said there's no patches allowed at the school, you cannot display what you think or anything like that, or what cheer or anything like that. I think it's like one-sided, you know, because you allow some patches but not other patches.
Kids have patches like other names and like the American flag and that.
I love it. Jaiden is 12 years old, and he is stepping up to authority and asserting his rights. He's letting his voice be known, and his mom is doing a great job in articulating why the school's policy is completely buffoonish. I'm so impressed here.
Yeah. That was like flown during the revolution with, I just don't understand that at all.
so what I can do is
And if you go onto the ACLU's website, let's talk to
I
someone,
can
because I don't
have
want a
you
lawsuit.
speak
I really
to
don't.
I can have you speak to Jeff Yoakum
Okay.
again.
Okay.
And then he can refer you to our person at the district.
So now the bureaucracy wants to take over and just hand it off. Education, indoctrination, the lines have blurred for years now, and this is just the latest example of it. But the ignorance here of not knowing the symbology, not knowing the name of what you're trying to ban, and then coming up with a cockamamie story about it being a symbol of slavery is mind-boggling.
Because, like I said, we're following district policy.
We're just following orders.
Is what we're doing. So the last thing I want is him out of class.
Yeah, I know.
That's all.
He
the last
takes
thing I
his
want.
classes seriously.
Yes.
He studies. He wants to get straight A's. He did that. He made honor roll when he was here before.
Yeah.
He has
Good
to
man.
again right now, but it's hard because he keeps missing class for this. So
I understand that.
yeah, and I mean, we teach him to always stick up for your beliefs. And I mean, you're going over the revolution for 7th grade. I mean, the founding fathers stood up for what they believed in against unjust laws. This is unjust.
Bravo, Mom. You're raising your son right, and I'm in awe and in admiration of it.
Okay. Like I said, we're upholding a policy that was provided to us, which we have to uphold.
Okay, can you show me where the policy?
Let's get back to the news coverage now.
They didn't want racism on school campus, and I told them that that was very subjective.
That video is gaining momentum on X, formerly Twitter, with more than 5.5 million views.
And
I
counting.
do want him to stand up for his rights too, and I don't want to say like, no, you know, bow down to the government. Like, just, it's been tough. It's been a tough call to just let him do what he wants and say he's at that age to make his own decisions.
Vanguard Charter School is part of Harrison School District 2. In a statement, the district said in part, quote, "The patch in question was part of a half a dozen other patches of semi-automatic weapons. The student has removed the semi-automatic patches."
Wait a second. There was no discussion in that video of semi-automatic patches. There was no discussion of any other patch but the Gadsden flag. And by the way, I don't see any gun patches here with semi-automatic weapons. I see a St. Michael's patch. I see the Gadsden flag. I see a Doge. There is one that says Bear Arms and Bitcoin. What are they talking about? I'm sensing moving goalposts here. A classic tactic by buffoons that know that they have been overmatched in an argument, and now they're trying to shift the goal of what they're trying to accomplish through their buffoonish policy. Sounds like the school is backtracking like crazy here, trying to make the issue something other than speech.
The school says it allowed Jaiden to return to class and keep his Don't Tread on Me flag patch on his backpack. But Eden says she picked him up from school today with all of his patches. And I met up.
By the way, it looks like Jaiden is running for school council or something like that. I love it. It's great. I hope he wins. If there was ever a campaign to get behind with bipartisan support, it's Jaiden Rodriguez for student council.
With them at a grocery store to verify that. So you got all the patches still on there?
Yes. I don't plan to take any off.
A lawyer tells me as a public charter school, requiring him to remove any patches is a violation of his First Amendment rights.
Students do not leave their First Amendment rights at the schoolhouse door. That's what the U.S. Supreme Court has said. And so that's the test that must be met. It has to be a significant disruption to the educational mission of the school in order for the school to regulate the student's speech. And I'm deeply skeptical that that's true here.
As am I. Great job, counselor.
Colorado Governor Jared Polis weighed in on this.
Now Jared Polis, who's as they said, the governor of Colorado, not exactly right-leaning. I even say that he's progressive in his views.
I think it's great when students express themselves in different ways, as long as they're not creating a disruptive environment. Certainly the Gadsden flag is a great iconic American flag. Other kids have LGBT flags on their backpacks. Others have flags of major political parties.
Eden says she's proud of her son, standing up for himself. Rodriguez says Jaiden missed about 3 days of school over this. She says this is not over and has been in contact with an attorney. In Colorado Springs, I'm Lindsay Jensen for News 5.
Lindsay, thanks. And after meeting with Eden and Jaiden to confirm the patches were still on his backpack, we reached out to the district for response. The communication director tells us there are new patches that were not on all of his backpacks before. It's important to note the Gadsden flag patch is still on that backpack.
And a 12-year-old shall lead us. This is something that every American should know about. It's part of our rich American history. And in case you don't know about the Gadsden flag and its origins, let's take a look. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So what you're looking at is an image from the Library of Congress. This is America's first meme. It's a political cartoon that was published in the Pennsylvania Gazette in May of 1754, created by Benjamin Franklin. Let's talk about its meaning and what this has to do with the Gadsden flag. So in this article from constitutioncenter.org, it explains the significance of the rattlesnake symbol to Benjamin Franklin and early America. It was once published, as I said, in 1754 in Benjamin Franklin's paper, the Pennsylvania Gazette. During what would later become known as the Albany Congress, representatives from the colonies were going to meet to discuss the French threat and work on a treaty with the Iroquois Confederacy. At this Congress, Franklin was concerned about a recent military loss to the French and was clearly pondering a colonial alliance. This, again, 1750s. This is 20 years before the Revolution. So in contemplating this loss to the French, Franklin started coming up with this idea of a union between the colonies. Quote, they, being the French, presume that they may with impunity violate the most solemn treaty subsisting between the two crowns, kill, seize, and imprison our traders, and confiscate their effects at pleasure. Accompanying the article talking about this issue was the Join or Die cartoon, which is a snake cut into 8 pieces that symbolized the British colonies of the time. Franklin's message hit home as the cartoon and article started appearing in other colonial papers. It is a symbol that has endured to this day and lives on in the Gadsden flag itself. So Benjamin Franklin saw the rattlesnake as a great symbol for the temper and control of America of the time. The rattlesnake was not an aggressive creature, according to Franklin, only struck when threatened, and would only wound after giving warning that it was about to strike. And that symbol endured 20 years later when Colonel Christopher Gadsden created this here, the Gadsden flag. You've seen many depictions of it since. It's been an enduring symbol of American history. The flag is named for, like I said, Christopher Gadsden, and also was designed by Commodore Essex Hopkins, commander of the United States Navy established under George Washington. This article goes on to say, and by the way, this is from the Charleston Museum, the image was first used satirically by Benjamin Franklin in the 1750s, like we discussed, but over the next several decades came into its own as an American icon similar to the bald eagle. Has nothing to do with slavery, everybody. I don't know where you got that idea from. Like the burgeoning nation itself, Franklin wrote that the rattler, quote, never begins an attack, nor when once encouraged, ever surrenders. She is therefore an emblem of magnanimity and true courage. I think I screwed up that word, but whatever, I'm going to go with it. As for the underlying slogan, don't tread on me, this passage utilized by Gadsden reflects the rattlesnake's general demeanor, a fairly docile animal until threatened or provoked, a behavior that easily mimics those of liberty-minded Americans of the day. Again, nothing to do with slavery. So how did the Gadsden flag become a symbol of racism or slavery or what have you, supposedly? This is a fairly new concept. So one of the reasons that the school district gave to the Rodriguez family in support of their position was this article from the Washington Post. It details an equal opportunity employment claim, an EEOC claim, back in 2016, where one coworker complained about another wearing the flag itself as, I think it was a hat. The complaint, which goes back to 2014, states that the complainant found the cap to be racially offensive to African Americans because the flag was designed by Christopher Gadsden, as we discussed earlier, a, quote, slave trader and owner of slaves. Now, we're talking about the 1770s, folks. There was a lot of slave ownership going around back then. I know that we can say this honestly, but history has context to it. We all agree slavery's bad, but it was a part of the culture back in the 1770s. The complainant also goes on to say that the Gadsden flag is a, quote, historical indicator of white resentment against blacks stemming largely from the Tea Party. After a thorough review of the record, the EEOC said it is clear that the Gadsden flag originated in the Revolutionary War in a non-racial context. Moreover, it is clear that the flag and its slogan have been used to express various non-racial sentiments, such as when it is used in the modern Tea Party political movement, gun rights activism, patriotic displays, and by the military. Now, the EEOC also went on to say that until you figured out the context under which the person that was being complained of in this claim was wearing that flag, the intent behind it, that they couldn't close out the claim. So that's where all these buffoons are hanging their hat on. This idea that somehow the Gadsden flag became racist. Which brings us back to young Jaiden. What do you think his intent is by displaying the Gadsden flag on his backpack? He's clearly wants to be engaged with his own student body. He's running for, looks like vice president, and go Jaiden go. Do you think these are signs of a racist? Let's think logically for a second here. I understand that we have blind policies and we all have to follow it blindly. After all, this is the educational system where blind following is what it's all about. It's all about indoctrination these days. Do you think that this is racism from him? Or do you think that this is a young man speaking his mind, using his First Amendment to the fullest? I think the answer is pretty obvious here. And the buffoonery from the school district here is absolutely mind-boggling because they originally started talking about this flag in the video. That's undeniable. And they've now backtracked to talking about all the patches. And even the very progressive Colorado governor has stepped on their whole thinking, which is great to see, by the way. This should be a bipartisan issue. The First Amendment is for everyone, including Jaiden. This school district is completely buffoonish. They're rightly being dragged. I'm so glad to see millions of people watching this video, and everyone is calling out this school district on their buffoonery. So that's this video, folks. If you like what we're talking about here, please like, comment, share the show with your friends. Let everybody know about what Jaiden is doing here and what his family is going through. And please subscribe to the channel. The channel is growing by leaps and bounds. Help us keep having conversations like this so we can talk about all the shenanigans and buffoonery that's going on this week in DUMBmocracy.
views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.